I remember talking to a good friend of mine who's now a priest, but we were in a seminary together. And he knew me really well. I wouldn't ask this question of someone who didn't know me, right? So I remember asking him, like, buddy, I feel like I'm struggling a lot, and it's manifesting all sorts of different ways. What do you think my issue is? And he didn't hesitate, which made me wonder, right? But he was like, your issue, Eric, is that you can't forgive yourself for being you. Lord, I think you're calling me to the holy priesthood, but if you're calling me to be a priest, why would you make me me? And if you want me to be someone else who's like basically not me, to be a priest, what does that mean for me right now? Does that mean you don't accept me? Does that mean you're not really my friend? Does that mean you don't really love me? And so that's awful to think about. So I felt like I was kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. We can all relate to this in some level, right? In retrospect, I was laboring under this really false and extremely narrow and made up notion of what it means to be holy or what it means to be a priest. And we all fall into this, right? What does it mean to be holy? It means you walk a certain way, you talk a certain way, you live a certain way, all kind of made up, external trappings, things that we kind of put on ourselves that God doesn't really expect, It took me forever. It took me forever to realize God was not calling my ideal self, wasn't calling my perfect self, wasn't calling my refined self. Surprise, surprise, the Lord was always calling me. The real me. The broken me, the person who's always in the process of becoming. It goes to the foundational mystery of the Incarnation. The Incarnation is one of my favorite mysteries. It's not simply an Advent or a Christmas thing. This is like an identity thing. What does the Incarnation tell us? It invites us to dispel our lies about our relationship with God. Again, I'm sure you can relate to this. We often fall into this notion that, okay, someday maybe, one day in the future, I will be virtuous, I'll be perfect, or maybe even simply good. And then God will accept me, and then God will love me, and then He'll call me the great things. And the Incarnation says, while we were sinners, Jesus Christ in His great humility and love came down to us and journeyed with us through our brokenness, through our sinfulness, through our frailty. And if we have the corresponding humility to receive that, in that space is the marriage of humanity and divinity.